sure what they are, so I apologize. But you know, those people who, essentially put gold to the fire or certain material to see if there's if there's gold inside of it, it is made manifest. So hey, like, you don't just work on that by yourself. You work on that with other people. Say, hey, is there really gold in there? Everybody's looking down on it to see. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, there is gold in there. Like, keep it to the fire so we can get that gold, that precious quality out of it. But that's all.
Yeah, you got goldsmiths. That's what they call it. Or I think they have other names, but goldsmith is one of the names for somebody that deals with that. I just had a precept to add to the brother Bakwar's point as well. This is Job 13 and 15. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him, but I will maintain mine own ways before him. In other words, Job is saying, even though the Lord is jacking me up, and even if the Lord kills me, I'm still going to trust in him. And that's the mentality which that's beyond what this world can comprehend. You have a lot of jakes that complain about the Most High. Well, the Most High, how can God be jealous? That's an emotion that only men should feel, or only a man can feel. But they don't understand the Most High. They don't understand Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. And ultimately, that's why they err. But the point being that, whatever the Lord has in store for us, we're going to trust in him regardless. And that's why we have these old accounts like Job, like Isaiah, like Hezekiah, like David. All of these great men of old, we can go into the story. Even our apostles in these days, they have stories of things that they suffered that they were able to overcome. So us ourselves have had stories of things that we went through that we were able to overcome through Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. So when we're in these situations, it's important that we remember the patience of Job, like the precept you brought out, Zaquan, which was James 5, which was an excellent precept, going into remembering these prophets, remembering these men of old and everything they went through. You see, because the Lord, again, they have that saying in the world, his most trusted servants is the one he's going to test the most. God's favorites, like they say. And clearly the Lord has a special favor towards us, because look what he gave us is 100% true. All right, but that doesn't come without us being tested, and that comes with a heavy lot. The most favored son or father that truly cares about his son, he disciplines him, because he loves him. If he doesn't discipline him, then he doesn't love him. I'm gonna read a couple more down and pass it on. It's Job 13 and 16. He also shall be my salvation, for an hypocrite shall not come before him. So Job, even though everybody, even his close friends, were telling him, yo, you're wicked, that's why the Lord is judging you. You're gonna have people from your own circle that's gonna tell you, your family, different people around you, everybody's gonna be accusing us. We're the problem, we're the cause of all the world's woes. But what comes after that? Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. The righteous man shall stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him. So remember that we're at the last affliction, the last persecution. After this, we're gonna reign forever as joint heirs with Yahweh Shai. So whatever we gotta go through, hey man, just chalk it up to the game, charge it to the game, like they say, right? It's just a part of the territory, man, of being a prophet, being a hopeful elect, being a king. This is all a part of it. So that's a part of us counting the cost, knowing what we're a part of. You don't start building a house unless you're able to finish it. You don't lay the foundation if you can't actually build the framing on top of it, and then put the plumbing, electric, whatever it takes to finish the whole entire house. If you come short, guess what? You're going to be asked out, and you're going to be made a mockery of. So it's important for us to have these type of discourses in the spirit and to exhort one another, because we have to be aware of what we're getting into here. All right, but Job had that confidence because he knew he was walking in his integrity, the same way we know that we're walking in our integrity. We're not perfect. We have many flaws. We're in the flesh. We're striving to be better every day. But at the end of the day, listen, man, we're we're still serving the Lord. We're calling on the names Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. We're seeking him out. We're still edifying his sheep to the best of our ability. That surely has to count for something. So when Job was going through his, he kept thinking about, well, man, I've been, to the best of my ability, I've been serving the Lord. So everything that these people are saying about me is not true. So he had a confidence in his integrity that the Lord had given him. And that's what gave him the extra push, because the Lord was dealing with him the whole time. He just put him through that as a test. And then look what happened at the end. His latter end was blessed. Even his friends had to give it up, like, man, Job, you're right, man. You see, but he if he didn't go through that, then we wouldn't even know about Job. He would just be another man he would just be another rich man that was just successful. What makes Job's story so great? Because he went through the lowest of the low and still kept his integrity, man. And just last precept here. Behold, now I have ordered my cause. I know that I shall be justified, right? So Job had a confidence in his deliverance, ultimately, because he knows, shit, I'm doing the right thing. These people are the ones out here, then in the book of Job, they go into the wicked and the judgment of the wicked, the joy of the hypocrite being for a moment, So we know that these people are the ones that are serving idols, man. They're not serving the Lord. These people are the ones that are getting ready to take that MOTB. These people are the ones that are supporting the alphabet community and all of this madness. Okay, transhumanism. Peter Thiel. You think Peter Thiel's gonna win? You think a demon like that is gonna have a favor with the Lord over the men that are calling on his name? If you believe that, then you don't believe in the Lord, because the Lord is a just power. He's gonna justify those that serve him. You see, and then just this last precept. Who is he that will plead with me? For now, if I hold my tongue, I shall give up the ghost. Well, really the point was in the 18th verse, because Job basically said he's going to be justified, because why? He ordered his cause. His cause was ordered, and that's why it's important for us to order our cause, man. Teach the right doctrine, stay locked in. That's why the brother Bakar kept making the point, and the spirit keeps having to come out about being on point now, because you don't want to get into that position and you're like, man, what's the spirit? Am I in the spirit? Am I out the spirit? You don't know what's going on, because you haven't been locking in when you had a chance. The opportunity's been given right now, but I'm gonna wait till the fourth quarter and I'm down 50 and let me try to get in the spirit. No, get up now. Get an advantage now. Don't try to come from behind. It's possible. It's possible, but do you want to think that you're the one out of however many, that very rare select choice, that the Lord is going to give you favor like he gave Paul? You see? You brothers got it.
It's like studying for a test on the day of the test. Like, yo, how do you think you're going to pass? You're not going to pass. But I have a precept to back you up. This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 6, verse 10. It says, for God is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have showed towards his name, in that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister. And we desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end. So that was it on that.
That's on you guys point.
Hey, Salakia, my bad. I was I was listening to this to that guy video that tried to repeat. Yeah. I got caught up in that, my bad. But but hey, it all ties in, kind of, because at the end of the day, something I was thinking, while brother was talking, I was listening to it. It's just like, your brothers gotta really, and sisters, like, just believers, period. Like, you got to really know what you in this for, man. Like, you got to really understand. Scripture talks about counting the cost, and we all going to have to give an account on the day of judgment. We all going to have to actually really be, the Lord can see through everything that we go through, like, or everything that we think, right? I think it's in Sirach, the 42nd chapter, that no thoughts escapes him. So when everything comes up and the time that we're coming in, there's going to be a time where it's just going to be just you. You know, it's not going to be like, oh, we may not have each other. You know, we may not have a brother to call. We may not have somebody just to like, you know, go through precepts with, or somebody to, you know, encourage you, you know, to whatever situation that you're going through. And it's just going to be you and Yahweh Bashim Hawashai. And that's something that, for me personally, is something that I've been thinking about a lot more, because yeah, we have a brotherhood and it's beautiful to have a brotherhood, but it also, you need, I think Bakar always talks about it, like having like that personal relationship with the Lord. You know, the Christians, they say that a lot, but they don't really know what that really means, to where it's like you actually have like a personal relationship with Yahweh Ba'ashim Shai, right? I think there's a scripture in the book of Hebrews. Let me pull it out real quick. Hebrews, the 4th chapter, Hebrews chapter 4, verse 13. It says, neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight, but all things are naked and open unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do. Right? And that word have to do, in my handy dandy Bible application, it says must give account to. So we all have to give an account to the Lord, right? Luke, the 21st chapter, 35th verse, one of my favorite scriptures, it says that watch therefore and pray always, that we may be found worthy to escape and to stand before the Lord, right? And when you stand before Yahweh Shai, you basically don't have to give an account, right, on, you know, what you've done, how you moved, right? I believe is second Corinthians talks about that we all have to, you know, stand before the judgment seat of Yahweh Shai to give an account what we have done in our body, whether it be good or evil, or good or bad, right? And Yahweh Shai is coming to judge in the mind, right, that of his father, and that is a righteous judge. So when Yahweh Shai judges, it's not going to be based off of how he feels, what he thinks about you, whether he likes you, any of those things. It's going to be based off, because that's a part of the law, right? You can't have a respected person. So it's going to be based off of how you are, like what your inner man is. And that's what King David always spoke about, right? Like search my inward parts, because King David wasn't perfect, right? And he knew he wasn't perfect, but he knew his inner man. He knew who he was when nobody was around. He knew how he felt about serving the Lord. He knew how he felt about, you know, being upright before the Lord. And that is something that a lot of men don't think about, right? A lot of men is too busy thinking about other men. They're too busy thinking about other people. And you're not here thinking about yourself. You're not here thinking about how the Lord looks at you. You worried about how the Lord looks at everybody else, but you're not worried about how the Lord looks at you. And that's something that, you know, for myself personally is I always try to keep in my mind day after day, right? Even as being like an elder of a camp, like, yeah, the scripture talks about look toward, you know, look after your flock, know the state of your flock, but you got to know the state of yourself first before you know the state of your flock. You can't be somebody that is watching out everybody else, because the scripture talks about it. There's one that is profitable to everybody else, but to himself, he's not profitable. So, you know, that's something that we, especially in the times that we're coming in, because Jacob's trouble, our temptation, right? All of these snares and traps that Esau setting, the Lord is only going to allow those that get caught up in that is the ones that are not sincere. And that's who the Lord is looking at. He's looking after the ones that are sincere, right? Yahweh Shai said that the time has come for the true worshipers to worship the Most High in spirit and in truth, because that's who the Lord seeks for worship, right? It's not about how many precepts we know, how many, you know, breakdowns we know. It's about how sincere and how, you know, real you are, right? That is what the Lord is. And that's how Yahweh Shai was, right? He was about who is actually real, who is actually, you know, sincere. And that is what the house of David is, man. And a lot of men don't get that. But what's about to come is going to decipher all of that. It's going to separate all of that, you know. So, you know, that's just something I was just thinking about. Salaki, if it's not on topic, but it's always on topic, because it's all edification. So that's it.
Spirit is like the wind. So
That's it. That's it.
that's it. Yeah, Haran, no, I think you were holding the sign, right?
Yeah, Khan, I had this last precept here, and that's it for me. And this is something that Yahushua mentioned that it always sticks with me at least, which is the book of Matthew, chapter 26 and verse 41. He said, "This is Yahushua speaking, and it reads, 'Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak.'" Right? So ultimately, we're going to go through our battles every single day. That's the basic temptations. And temptation simply mean a fleshly enticement to sin. That's all it is, right? So we know that temptation has to do specifically with the flesh. Okay, because the spirit doesn't get temptation. The temptation comes from the flesh, like the things that you want to feel or do or taste or whatever the case may be, that may go against your health or your spirit or whatever the case may be. You don't want to put your spirit in a situation where it's battling to overcome some shit. You know what I mean? But ultimately, the hour of temptation is really the true temptation, right? And on our daily lives, we're going to go through things, the trials, the tribulations, just like the typical walk of a man of the Lord in this wicked world. You're going to go through trials and tribulations, but that's when brothers mentioned how it's imperative to build that relationship with Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai in the spirit, that no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, even if you're alone or you with brothers, right? It's always easier when you're with brothers because you're all in like mind, and where two or three are gathered, Yahweh Shai is there. So it's easy for you to conjure up the spirit when you're in the midst of many brothers. But when you're alone, you have to also learn how to conjure up that spirit, in the sense that I'm not talking about conjure up spirit like doing witchcraft and shit. No, but being able to, analyze the spiritual situation and know how and when the Lord is dealing, right? There's certain things where you know right away, like, you know what? Typically this doesn't happen to me, but the fact that it's happening, I know that, okay, the Lord, he's doing something with that. Let me just chill back and watch and see how it plays out. Sometimes I'll be at work sometimes, and it's like the job be mad extra, bro. I just be looking around, and I'm just frustrated because I'm thinking like, yo, why the fuck I got an hour to do all this extra shit? That's mad work, But then I think about the Lord, and I'm like, Lord, I gotta get on this ladder, I gotta get on this toilet, like, I'm thinking about all this shit, like, cars are passing, but then all I do is just pray, Lord, just hold me up, so I don't fall off this damn pole, this ladder, you know what I'm saying? But even if I do fall, Lord, help me so it's not like something that could be devastating where I can't do the work. That's my first thing. Lord, as long as I can still do the work, just keep me alive so I can still serve you, because I believe that by serving you, if I'm able to finish my course, I'm going to be good, because that's what you said for us to do. You said, go out there and endure to the end. Serve me. Give me everything you got, and I got you. That's it. That's the deal. I bet I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? So through my walk, everything I do is to keep myself in shape, spiritual shape, in order to fulfill the will of Yahweh Bashim Shai, whichever lot has been given to me, right? So that's the mindset. And it goes all the way, like the Zaquan said, it doesn't stop. See what I'm saying? Like the sun rises, we rise it. See what I'm saying? Until we get to the kingdom, it doesn't stop, right? So it's either Yahweh Shai comes back and gets us up out of here, or we die doing what we're doing. It doesn't stop. Okay, you don't get to retire from serving the Lord. These Catholic Church bum ass people talking about, the Pope, his lot is everlasting. Basically, he's there till he dies. But yet 2014 or 2013 or whatever, they said Pope John Paul or whatever, he's retiring because he's too old to continue the ministry. So we're gonna put in the other one, Francis. Right now, Francis is done. How long did it take? Like a decade and some change. Yeah. Do this dickhead. And he just did just a 10-year span or so, and boom, he out of there. Now we got another nigga in there who we don't even know who the hell he is. I don't remember the name of I don't know his name. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are all signs to show you that, everything is getting weaker and weaker and weaker. Meanwhile, the elect are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. As is written, the house of David waxed stronger against the house of Saul that waxed weaker. You know what I'm saying? So ultimately, man, remember that the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. You're going to go through things where you're going to battle the flesh. Imagine being alone in alligator Alcatraz with no scriptures or nothing. And you got to battle elephant-sized mosquitoes, as the guys was describing. Like, that's some traumatizing shit. Yeah, like, motherfucking huge as shit. But you're thinking about it. You have to be able to, get yourself out of the flesh. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you know what? Shit, I'm getting bitten by mosquitoes. As long as I don't die, Lord, I'm still alive. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Yo, this heat is blazing. But as long as I'm alive, I'm good. Let's go. Right? The Lord will put you through certain things. You know, the sun, today was working, it was hot as shit. I'm out there working, no water, no food, I'm just bugging. My mind is like, you know what I'm saying? I'm pissed, I'm slowing down. But then I think about, you know what, Lord? Hey, when I get home and take a shower, just relax, you know what I'm saying? Do the work, I'll be good. Just that alone, it gave me that energy that I needed to finish what I had to do. And I prayed, I said, Lord, just lighten the burden a little bit. This sun is blazing, Lord, like, And then next thing you know, he just put a cloud up you over your head, you work in 15 minutes of a cloud, get a little reprieve, and then you go back to the heat again. But at least you get a quick break. You see what I'm saying? But you have to be willing. The spirit, you got to be willing to go through the shit. That's the only way you're going to see the Lord's hand in your life. If you're not willing to go through the shit, you're not going to see nothing. You know what I'm saying? You have to be willing to get through there. Like, this is the test. I'm in the test. Now I see the Lord pull it. Okay, what the Lord, that's the answer I was looking for. Yep, that's it. But if you're not sitting in the test room, how you going to get the answers? Oh, but Lord, I studied, but I'm not seeing that. Everything I studied for is not what I'm seeing on this test. They tricked me. No, that's why he said, don't meditate on what you're going to say when they bring you in front of the magistrates and so on. Don't worry about that. I'll take care of that for you. Just as long as you're there and saying what you're saying and standing stiffly for my name, I got you. I'll take care of the rest. Don't you know how easy it is for the Lord to work on the minds of these people, right? We can manipulate people's minds. Look what the Apostle Paul was dealing with Agrippa, right? He was manipulating his mind by truth, though. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. The Lord could easily just, he could make Trump pass in front of our camp one day while we're teaching, and he roll his window down and just be watching us, and he'll do that little thing that he does, do the points, so he'd be like, yep, those are the guys, those are the Hebrew Israelites, those are the prophets. Yep, you got it. Yeah, that's it, the prophets, yeah, that's it. And it would be crazy. Imagine he stepped out his car, whatever, stays there, and then just watching. That'll go crazy. Yeah, you guys, we have big plans for you. Your prophets, we have big plans, But we're not gonna be, oh shit, Trump is here. We're gonna be like, hey, you're an Edomite, right? You're going to slavery, right? Well, let's get you some precepts on that. We'll give you the everything you need to know, because we're not here to make friends. We're here to give a message from the Holy One Himself. All right. So, like Isaiah said, Lord, who have believed our report? The report must be given. Only the elect gonna believe it. Everybody else, fuck them. That's just how the Lord sees it. And the judgment is gonna be the Lord saying, fuck them. You see Revelation 14 and 9 on down. That's that. Yeah. That's the Lord saying, no, I'm done. I'm done with these people. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, going back to the point, no matter what happens, no matter the trials, no matter the tribulations, always remember, Yahweh Shai is with you if you're of the elect. And when you call upon those names in the most dire straits, He will be there to protect you and provide for you. Don't worry about everything else. All right, and bro, I think before you wanted to bring out Isaiah 65, right? Kind of to close it out. Yeah. So we see these things. The Lord wrote it down or gave us the script for a reason. All right. This is the movie plot. This is how it all plays out. You might not know what character you may play, but just understand that there is a character or a bunch of characters here that play the role of the elect. Hope to be a part of those characters, because no matter what happens, they're gonna be good. And that's the role, Lord willing, that we are playing in this movie as we enter into the end of this thing. All right. I'm gonna pass it. You brothers got it. Shalom.
Yeah, I got a quick video that I actually just saw, and then just to show you the just the beginning. Now this is in broad daylight, by the way. See if I can find it.
Before you show that video, you mind if Aisha makes a quick point? I think he wanted to say something as well.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead, Asher.
Oh, the water, bro. Yeah, I was just gonna bring out a precept based off your testimony about working, and working hard. Colossians 3:23. And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men. In the NLT, it says, work willingly at whatever you do, as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. Remember that the Lord will give you an inheritance as your reward, and that the master you are serving is Hamashiach Yahushua. So it's like if you laying bricks, whatever you're doing is as though every brick that you lay is like working towards, like you building up the kingdom. Basically, it's you're serving Yahushua. Ultimately, it's set up to where you have to work. You have an employer, you have a boss, whatever people that you got to work with. But ultimately, treat it as though you're working for Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And the Lord is going to give you a great reward at the end. But that's it.
Con. Beautiful. So I just came across this, and what I'll do is I'll switch. So rather than Isaiah 65, I have a precept here instead, so we can swap that. But once again, like we mentioned before, now this once I click out this X, it's gonna start playing the video automatically. So before going ahead, it says here, terrifying video: woman fights off would-be kidnapper in Florida, which is this is in broad daylight, like I said. So I'm gonna play it real quick. Actually, just saw it. So just like that, right? Broad daylight, you had dude just grabbed her, right? Look, he had her in some form of hold and just like literally trying to take her into his pickup. So, and there's literally cars like driving on the road and stuff like that. Now, the question is, if this is happening in broad daylight now, what do you think is going to happen in that time? And this is why we always tell you that you're gonna need you're gonna need Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh, right? You're gonna, especially because naturally women are weaker than men. But there's gonna come a time when all hell is breaking loose. People are gonna be running around seeing this, because this is just gonna be like a backdrop, another thing that's going on, because that's just the times that we're living in. And you're gonna see cases like that. I feel like I remember a scene similar to that in the book of Eli, where there was a scene where it looked like a woman needed help, and instinctively you would think, "Oh, go and deliver her," but then he was like, "Nah, leave it." And then they found out it was like a trap or whatnot. But in when all hell breaks loose, it won't always be a trap. It will actually be somebody that genuinely needs help. But people are gonna be, as Yahushua said, the love of many shall wax cold. So dudes might be standing there looking at you. I'm sorry, I gotta go. Nope. Or a dude might try to come help you, and this kidnapper pulls out a shotgun. Like, you better keep walking, buddy. And guess what? He's gonna keep walking, buddy. At that point, you on your own, And in cases like that, that's the question. Like, that's when you find out this is real life. You know what I mean? Like, if you're this person, if you're like the woman in that example, that's when you find out this is real life, because your screams don't do anything, right? And there's literally an attacker that just took you in the back of his car. You're not seeing the light of day anymore. That's when in your mind you're like you can't believe you're actually tied up in the back of a pickup truck of some random stranger who picked you up off the street. How did this happen? What's going on? And that shock is gonna hit people hard, because they've never had to experience something like that in their lives before. Imagine living a corporate life. You wake up, you get on the train, you go to work, you come back home. When have you ever had to be so far out of your comfort zone that this is like your new reality, just like that? And that's where we're headed. All right. And that's why the scriptures have it worded the way they do, that a man shall be as an hiding place, right? That 7 women shall take hold of one man. Because when times start looking like that on a daily and on a regular, that whole pride shit is going to go right out the window. Yeah, that's the one. And I wanted to say, I forgot who. I think Haran, you were saying something, and I had a slight remembrance. I think I had a dream, and I don't remember much, but I remember the feeling. There was a feeling which I think I had spiritual power in the dream, but the feeling that I remember was like that the story of the Black Jesus, how they kept trying to kill the angel, and he would just show up again. And he said that basically there's going to come a time when more people like him are going to pop up on the scene. And I remember the feeling of that in the dream. And I don't remember if I was like, they either tried to kill me, it didn't work, but I was telling them like basically that time when the Black Jesus story that he was talking about is now. And that was like one example of like the people with spiritual power. I just remember that feeling when you were talking about like Trump coming out the car. But yeah, that's going to show you that the times that we're coming into. So like the Zaquan said, it's a balance, going into these times. Yes, it's good to be aware of the dangers, but your helmet of salvation should be on the salvation, right? It should be on the deliverance that's to come. That's the mindset you want to go into these times with. Like, I can't wait to see how the Lord delivers us. Not, oh, is the Lord going to deliver me? And I hope he delivers me. Yes, we do hope, but we have that sure confidence that, you know what, Lord, hey, the more dangerous the situation, the greater the miracle is going to be, because how you going to get me out of this one, Lord? You know, that's the mindset that you want to be in. And that mindset provokes miracles, right? That's the mindset where next thing you know, you see a brother flip a whole tank, you know what I'm saying, down the street. And then imagine the spiritual adrenaline that's rushing at that point. But I got one last precept, and that's just going to be it for me. This is Sirach 2:6, and it reads here, believe in him, the Most High, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy. And that goes to show he's not even talking to everybody, because not everybody fears the Lord. And go not aside lest ye fall. So when you're in these trying times and you don't know what to do, once you've prayed, wait for the Lord to give you that solution, because he will, right? Don't go off your own vain opinion. It says here, ye that fear the Lord, believe him, and your reward shall not fail. Ye that fear the Lord, hope for good, and for everlasting joy and mercy. So in whatever situations we're put in, remain optimistic in the spirit, right? Hope for good. Even if you're faced with death, it's good, right? It's good because that's salvation. It's all a mental thing, right? Is it death or is it salvation? Is it a guillotine or is it the door I got to open up to go be with Yahushua until he comes back? You know, if I got to go through that door, that means I'm going to be one of the first people risen up. So we'll be in the kingdom, and I'll be telling you, hey, well, I was one of the first risen up, right? So, you know, like, it's all about how you look at it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's a famine going on. Well, the Lord said his servant shall eat. So how is it going to be? Are there ravens? Are they like, what's going on? But we going to eat, right? It says here, verse 10, look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? So think about it. Like, what's more likely to happen? You get fed in a time of famine, or the Lord become a liar? Obviously not the latter. So the most likely thing to happen is, if he said he's going to take care of you, that's what he's going to do. Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long suffering, and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins, and saveth in time of affliction. And that's ultimately what you got to keep in mind. When you get to the point where you 100% leave it into the hands of the Lord, that's when the Lord steps in. Not when you're still trying to use your own will. Sometimes you're in situations where you're like, Lord, like, I pretty much just like give up. Like, I there's nothing I can actually do. It's just you. And if you don't deliver me, then whatever happens to me happens to me. And it's at that very moment that, boom, whatever it is that you were praying for, the Lord comes through with it. So remember that the Lord saves in time of affliction. The Lord saves in time of affliction. The Lord saves in time of affliction. Just keep that in your mind going into these times. That's it from me.
Now I got one precept left. It's Psalms 34, verse 19. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Havashai, delivereth him out of them all. So, yeah, just like how it says in 2 Ezra 16, that behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you out of the same. So that's something that, you know, you got to always keep in your mind. You know, as somebody that has faith, in order, the greatest way to, I guess, show your faith is you got to be in a position to show faith, right? You know, you could say I have faith, but as James said, you know, you could say I have faith, but you have to show the works. Now we show the works now because of our faith, but the time is going to come also where like our faith in the Lord's miracles and him being able to do things that is, you know, outside of the norm or outside of logic, that is also going to take place. And that's going to be a part of the Lord's deliverance. So we got to have also that faith that the Lord can go beyond just what you expect, right? Beyond your expectations, because that's really, well, it can't even go out beyond our expectation because our expectation is the Lord to deliver us out of those places. But what I mean is the Lord is going to go beyond just the norm of reality. And the fact that scriptures like this say this, right, it lets us know that, yeah, we have to understand that we may suffer affliction, but also know that the Lord will deliver us out of those afflictions that we suffer. And that goes to show, really, he's doing that for his name to be exalted, because only the elect are going to exalt his name in those times. And that's what the Lord ultimately wants to happen. So we want to be those vessels that the Lord used to exalt his name. So we got to be put in those positions so that we can call upon his name for him to deliver us so we can exalt him. That's it for me.
Beautiful. Anybody else? All set? Okay, Khan, beautiful. So, hey, beautifully said by the Zaquan. And, ice rays are just the beginning. Stay in the spirit, pray to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, and think of it like your high school yearbook, right? Put on your best show for the Lord now, because what you do now is going to be etched in history for all eternity. So it doesn't matter how much it hurts, just give it your all, because that's how you'll be remembered, right? So leave that legacy. Cool. Anyway, with that, Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. In closing, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak, Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.